Load. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Beagle Clan. I'm your host, Beagle Boy, and with me are a few co-hosts from Clockwise. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Philo for some. What more do you need to ask for?
Lady Emily, also known as Lady M from the Templars.
I am Mr. Dirt Mason. What's up, guys?
All right. Thank you for joining. And today we are going to be doing a festive type of stream. As you read the title, A Lovely Bowl. For those of you who are who live in America, you probably know about the NFL and having their Super Bowl tomorrow being their grand champions. And in addition to this, we will be doing one dedicated to the holiday, Valentine's Day, that is happening later this week. And so we're going to kind of give our own experiences, our own thoughts on each. You know, maybe you'll probably learn a thing or two. So with that being said, who wants to start this off?
All right. Let's probably start off by talking about the Super Bowl and apparently how. So I heard that apparently the cheapest ticket for a Super Bowl ticket is $8,000, and the most expensive ticket is $2 million.
There's two reasons for that. One, this is supposed to be a rematch from 2020 before the whole world went to shit. And of course, the elephant in the room, Tay-Tay, is said to have a very big influence there.
Oh yeah, everyone and am I allowed to say her name?
Sure, go ahead.
So I think this also stems from the Meat Canyon video a little bit, but because of the Meat Canyon video, I think people are going after Taylor Swift.
I mean,
the whole fucking video kind of was like, fuck, dude. It was kind of funny because it was like, I wonder if it was because I remember how much flack was that Meat Canyon got for that from a bunch of Swifties.
Unfortunately, she seems to have as much power as Michael Jackson did in his prime time. So, wherever you hear her name, that's probably for that reason alone.
Yep.
But, with that being said, a couple things I would like to mention for, especially with how I feel about football in general, is kind of similar to a rant channel that I've been subscribed to ever since high school named Grade A Under A, who did a video on sports, and he says something about football that I actually do kind of agree with him on. Why is it that they make their players wear the most overprotective crap imaginable compared to, say, rugby, where they, barely have any type of equipment on? Does that mean football just practically plagiarized rugby?
It's kind of funny too because it's like you expect tackles and shit like that and injuries and shit like that, but in reality, it's like they're wearing these big ass fucking helmets and these fucking vests and these fucking shoulder pads and shit like that.
It just sounds like a bunch. It just sounds like a bunch of gladiators going at each other.
I've never been one for football. I've just never been one for mainly most sports. But I mean, I do enjoy some sports, just not all of them. But I don't take them as seriously as some people do, like the people that bet actual money on that shit.
Yeah, I do think there are some who definitely take it a bit too Oops.
I mean,
that'll come later.
every time there's a Super Bowl, there's always a Super Bowl rage video that's on the internet of a guy destroying his TV, flipping tables, and screaming when the other team loses and shit.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of football either. I have been to, but it's been years. I used to go to a Super Bowl party, but yeah, it's been years. No, I was more socialized. I just never cared for football.
I think the thing
I'll do
is
it
like, I think the thing is too, is like the fantasy football stuff. I don't really do any of that either.
To be honest, I've never even heard of fantasy football at all.
Oh, it's literally what it sounds like. It's pretend football. Basically, it's like you make your own draft for your favorite teams, and it's hard to explain because it's just such a weird thing. It's like, because football is the biggest thing here in America, especially with the Super Bowl. Like, the Super Bowl is the most advertisable thing on the planet, especially for the commercials.
Oh, do not get me started on the commercials. They are probably the single-handedly biggest thing you could probably make fun of and make memes out of, if not the halftime show. Like, it almost just reminds me of, like, one video from the now deleted channel, Super Mario Logan, where he literally did an entire video of, like, his characters literally making fun of the Super Bowl commercials itself. One of them was, like, Cookie Crisp, like, cookies for breakfast, and, like, literally one of the kids, I guess, like, tried to pour root beer in there instead of milk, and he's like, "Yay, heart disease!" And I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, I'll give credit, but I'm not gonna say who said it out of the respect. But even they said, take football, especially the Super Bowl and football in general. Doesn't it just seem like another version of wrestling? I mean, what's the point of it, really?
Alright, you got anything you'd like to add on to this, Firelord?
I just don't have anything to say on that matter. I'm not well versed into this particular advertisement as most of you have, so I'm not that knowledgeable, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. But the only thing I would absolutely say, especially how bad those ads are, and even what you folks have been saying about this, you get fucked in the ass.
I think the thing is about the commercials now these days is that, like, they try so hard to either be funny or be weird.
And especially like how Firelord just played, how they get fucked in the ass. You could pretty much say that is like the same thing about the game itself. It's just a bunch of I don't know if I should say this without getting canceled, but I guess fuck it. But I guess I'll just let the video itself probably play, and I think what I'm gonna do is, since Firelord doesn't really have much exposure to the whole Super Bowl thing, I think what I'm gonna do is probably, if you're up to it, Firelord, that is, try to do a little bit of a reaction type of video to Grade A Under A's, like, sports video. Like, everybody else will still have their chance to, like, say their part, of course. But, like, just thought it'd be something, like, a little funny to, like, kind of spice up this segment of the conversation,
Might be willing to do so.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna share screen this.
I swear, anything that I hear, anything about the Super Bowl, I'm just not well versed or do not have enough knowledge of understanding any of that. But even then, it's so goddamn expensive for how it is. But I'm sorry, but when that thing goes too far, and especially how pricey it gets, this is what my response would have to be. They're fucking you in the ass. Okay.
Yeah, sounds about true. But anyways, I do want to say all video footage that you use not all that you use. All video footage that we share on here is meant in fair use. Credit to the original video goes to grade A under A, but in this case, we're going to give our response from our own perspective on each of the sports in general that he talks about.
True. I can't hear the audio at all.
Oh, did you press the share audio button?
Here, let me see if I did.
Because I'm not entirely sure you did.
Well, yeah, let me try this again. Alright, share screen. Share screen. Okay, yeah, I don't think I did so. Share system audio. Sorry about that, guys. We ran into technical difficulties, but in the meantime, you know, we're not going to react to the entire video itself. We're just going to get into the entire, like, sport itself. So, with the Super Bowl being the big topic, then we're just going to, then we'll cover, like, the football aspect itself. Basically, we'll try to cut out, like, the parts where we're not reacting to. With that being said, let's begin.
Oh my God, man! Don't get me started on American football, mate! What the fuck? Huh? What'd you say, mate? Cause I love American football, so there's nothing to start on. Jesus Christ, mate! These American football players are huge! What are they eating? Bowls of Dynamo for breakfast? Now listen, I'm not gonna say much about the sport, cause I don't wanna get my head bashed in, right? But did Amy Schumer invent this sport? Because fucking plagiarism, man! It's exactly the same as rugby, with the only difference being, unlike the men in rugby, the delicate little ladies who play American football all wear this pussy protective padding everywhere. What the fuck? Big ass chin, man. Say it again. I know, I was just kidding, don't kill me.
Overprotectiveness equipment with a very passionate fan base. That's pretty much how you can describe American football as a whole.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Something up?
The audio's kind of echoing.
Alright, well, like I said, I'm only going to cover, like, that segment of the video right there, so in this way, since it's appropriate for the topic, but still.
Yes. I can't believe what I witnessed. So anybody who says trash about the rugby or American football just ends up getting bombarded and get assaulted for no goddamn reason. Even if I'm a foreigner, it doesn't matter which country I'm from, I'm gonna end up getting bombarded and assaulted for no goddamn reason. This almost feels like if you try to insult something that you don't necessarily hear or like, you're just gonna get assaulted anyway, regardless. Don't matter if you're from any other country, which I find it to be a bit more insulting.
Try saying that in the same way with soccer, because, you know, just like how it may be called football in your area here, but, like, it's the same sport here, except, you know, it's called under a different name. So it's like, if you call it football, then, you know, everybody's probably gonna give you an evil stare. So you could probably say that might be the case with, like, every sport itself.
This almost feels like I'm dealing with a lot of people who just don't necessarily understand what is the major differences between the soccer or football ball and American football. That's just not reflective of how it is. It cannot be interchanged in any shape or form. I mean, I'm sorry, but this almost feels like this almost comes across as a bit of a, if you would call this a plagiarism, then I don't know what to tell you that.
Yeah, but, you know, in some regard, every time well, not every time, but, like, you know, at this rate, they'll throw the term plagiarism around no matter what, where it almost just loses any and all meaning at this point.
True, and it actually does make sense when you think about it. And I simply just don't understand why are they gonna throw that term around without understanding the full context of it. But even if they do understand the full context of it, I'm sorry, it's just gonna lose its meaning in it, and I'm sorry, it's just gonna lose its meaning, and the argument is just gonna get nowhere, no matter how many times you try to. I don't know. It doesn't matter how many times you try to explain things to it; it always stays the same, no matter what. And I hate that. And I absolutely hate that.
Unfortunately.
And on top of that, they're just gonna throw the word of plagiarism like it was nothing. It's just gonna start degrade. Yes, it's just gonna start degrading, and then it will start losing its meaning, as you pointed out. And I can't fault you for that, but at the same time, they're just not gonna understand the meaning behind it. Much like the other one, which I'm not even gonna say it because it's too controversial. So I'm just gonna leave that out. It is so frustrating having to deal with it.
Right. With that being said, though, I am expecting that with tomorrow's Super Bowl, like, even if it's said to be, like, the second most viewed since 2021, I am kind of expecting there to be a lot of... Well, I expect this one to kind of go into the history of the books, like, not just because, like, oh, it's a repeat of the same one, like, 4 years ago, as well as, like, Taylor Swift having the biggest influence there, but they're also, you know, probably might come onto the controversial side where it's like, you know, oh, somebody's gonna have some bad blood from this. Like, does anybody remember from 9 years ago when Tom Brady got his 4th Super Bowl ring and how there were some accusations about how he cheated when he was still part of the Patriots?
I think so. Yeah, there was like some big fucking controversy about that. Yeah.
Right, I guess there was like some massive scandal about it, and I guess, you know, the NFL had to like literally put them off, had to like literally put him out of the, well, had to put him on the sidelines, you know, as a penalty for it, or I think he settled out. I don't know how deep of a rabbit hole that goes, but I remember like nobody would stop talking about that. So basically I think something like this is gonna happen again, you know, with this year, especially since a lot of people are going to be watching it very closely. You know, I wouldn't be surprised in the next day you start seeing, like, internet rumors and controversies all over the place, because, oh boy, who doesn't love those?
I know, right?
Right. But now, with that being said, I think that's all I really have to say in terms of the Super Bowl segment. If any of you three would like to say something else about it before we move on to the next subject, feel free to speak your piece.
The two-pack of ass.
What was that, Lady M?
The two-pack of ass, and it sucks.
Okay, so apparently Super Bowls are 2 packs of ass.
Maybe I should let the audio speak for itself, because that's just too legitimately fine. In fact, let me pull that up just for this while we're at it. I'm gonna have to pull this up. Here we go.
Hear me good.
No.
That shit is a two-pack of ass.
2-pack.
You might want to save those clips for the upcoming segment that we're about to go into, because now we're getting into the main meat of this stream, Valentine's Day. Oh boy, where do I begin? Probably one of the most useless holidays I have seen in a while, and, well, quite frankly, I just don't even get why it exists. Like, people say, as they're older, that, you know, it's supposed to be dedicated to those that they love. And, you know, a part of me just used to think, like, well, why have that dedicated to one day when you can literally do that every single day, like, 24/7, 365 a year?
Right?
Right. Or just pretty much anytime you want, with your choice when you want to do that.
Precisely. And I know there's probably going to be some people who will be watching this stream, like, after, like, you know, the next days after, who are basically going to say, well, I feel pretty down and lonely on Valentine's Day because I'm not with a significant other, so how do I try to win one? Well, here is what I am going to do, something I like to call Beagle Tips. Basically, it's basically me just giving down-the-earth advice on how to help people with not really first world problems, but like anybody who kind of feels down, hopefully they'll learn something from this. So, one way I would say to finding a significant other, whether it's male or female, you want to make sure that not necessarily you put yourself out there, but like, you know, just act yourself, play cool. They say they like you. Try out this little test, what I like to call the Sean Kingston test. So repeat the words after me. Not specifically you three, but like just anybody who is watching this. Damn all these beautiful girls, they only wanna do you dirt. They'll have you suicidal when you say it's over. If they leave, they are not the one for you. If they stay, then they are the one. Follow those tips, and you are golden. Okay, I'll admit, I thought that was a little funnier in my head, but now that I think about that, I'm like, okay, I might get slapped for this.
Nah, it's fine. But anyway, with the Valentine's Day shit. Yeah, I feel like the holiday's kind of like just really fucking pointless because it's like it just kind of glorifies people like wanting. Oh, are you single? Why are you single? Don't you have a Valentine's? And I'm like, some of us don't fucking have dates.
And you know, that's perfectly fine. Like, you know, it basically one part I will say is, and this is just gonna be like real down to the earth. If you have to rely on somebody else to fix you, then it's not even worth it at that rate.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it's not.
To mention
Like,
how I don't like it with the holiday nowadays. People are like, oh, it's spoil me holiday. I expect someone to spoil me. Plus, you have where it's like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, and then in October, I believe, you have Sweethearts Day. Since when do we need a second type of Valentine's Day in the year? Yeah. Mm.
I mean, exactly. Like, it just sounds like Valentine's Day is just a one-way ticket to go broke, in a way. But then again, that could be said about another holiday like Christmas.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only with that being said, it just, it's like, and I know I might sound like a broken record for saying it, but like, it's just entirely pointless. Like, it's like you only dedicate one day to your significant other or your date or whoever, and most of what you do on Valentine's Day is just like, well, why does it have to be centered only on one day when it could literally be centered on the other 364 days?
I know, right?
Although I'll put it out there, although I'll put it out there, I have nothing against Christmas. But yeah, no, it does. You can run your broke.
Yeah, like run your whole family broke into the ground.
The only one I think it does is 4th of July with the fireworks when people do that. It's pretty much.
Honestly, if I were to have any input on this, especially when it involves Valentine's Day, I honestly don't have anything to say on that. I mean, objectively speaking, if we're gonna have to talk about that, then I will have to say on that. But I will have to make this short, quick and dirty is, unless you have something that you would have dedicated for yourself, and not just for the entire day, it would have been at 365 days a year that is dedicated to your significant other, then I think it would have been that way. But unfortunately, this doesn't seem to be anything. Unfortunately, this doesn't seem anything new to me. And honestly, when you said it's pointless, I don't think it's pointless. It's just there are times that just don't feel like it. It's non-existent to some people.
I get the feeling that probably might be the current attitude of how everybody is feeling towards the holiday, like now. At least in terms of 2024 standards.
Don't get me wrong, there are some good holidays for that, even the ones that we do like. But for some reason, when it comes to Valentine's Day, I just can't be too critical on that. But people are going to say, well, you are just objectively wrong on saying anything of that nature. I'm sorry, but I'm outside of the United States, so you cannot tell me you cannot tell me that I shouldn't be talking about that, when in reality I can't. It's just that you just don't see the perspective from Europeans.
Well, it's not just that, Firelord, but it's like, opinions are what make us unique as humans. It's those who can't really accept others is what the real problem is. So, really, in a way, it shouldn't even matter, like, the context or the background. You're just giving your perspective in the end.
I mean, if we're going to have to take
subjective.
Yes. If we're going to have to take some necessary examples, and I know this may be a bad analogy for me having to talk about this, but take a look at people in France. In France, there are somewhat a little bit explicit on some things, but what they do prefer is elegance. Because most of the majority of the French people do prefer elegance, which is actually what's drawn in them, and that may actually have to tie into the Valentine's Day. So there are potentially some things that I could actually reflect that. So some gentleman who prefers to be elegant and wishes to have a proper hangout in terms of Valentine's Day, not just for one day, but for the majority of its time, to make it feel like it's properly elegant in so many ways. And I think that some people are really ignoring the fact of how other French people have been done on that. Although I might be wrong, so I would think that some French people who are residing in that may actually explain that to me. That's coming from other parts of the European side, but mostly people from France. So a lot of the French people do have a bit of an elegance in them, especially when they consider about something that is considered a Valentine's Day. And although if they do have a different day for Valentine's Day, then fine. I will not argue about that. But seriously, though, objectively speaking, some people do not acknowledge Valentine's Day. It's almost as if it's non-existent. It almost feels that it does not exist to them in their world. And that's just what it is. Again, I'm not trying to diss on people who do not like. I'm not trying to diss on people who like Valentine's Day, but they actually don't understand. Why do they feel that some people just don't feel it exists to their world? And I'm not
Even-
speaking for them. I'm not speaking for them, but I'm also not speaking for the other side. I want to make that abundantly clear. If they don't understand it and they feel that they get out there hurt, I'm sorry, but there's just you gotta understand. And you have some sides of people from the France, but also a lot of smarter European people that are smarter than that, so they actually have at least a bit of understanding of that. But unfortunately, I just don't have that much to speak on that matter. And I know I've gone on a little bit of a tangent here, but you understand what I'm saying, though.
I mean, yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I'm sure the rest of us, probably get it, but it's like,
Yeah.
we're just, it's, but like, we're just trying to hear others' perspective, like not just from individuals, but like also from the nationalities, like how you brought up
Yes.
with France being elegant in terms of it. I mean,
Yes.
they're the country of love after all, so why wouldn't they be elegant when it comes to Valentine's Day, right?
Precisely. And although if I'm wrong about that, I believe some people, Frenchmen or any other French people out there, especially if it's from male or female, that they can actually explain that to me so that I will be able to understand properly for what do they truly care about for in terms of elegance, and that might actually tie into the Valentine's Day. So it just doesn't have to apply to younger people, but it could also apply older French people, older Frenchmen actually. Because case in point, this is actually what's just brought to my attention, and one of them happens to be a French actor. His name is Vincent Cassel, or actually how it's pronounced in French, Vincent Cassel. Now, I know this might seem random out of the blue for some of you, but this is actually kind of relevant. So, none of you who know Vincent Cassel don't know who he truly is. So I may have to put the page of who he is so that everyone understands who I'm referring to. So, he's actually a French actor throughout its years, even from the 90s, so to say. But he's actually a pretty impressive French actor for what he is. So there's a bit of elegance going on in him. So that actually might stem from that he has to dress properly, that is elegant, fresh, everything, even if he's an old man. Some women actually do prefer older men, to put it simply.
Isn't that the same actor who does the one cameo role in the French restaurant scene from 2007's Spider-Man 3?
I don't know if there's maybe I'm missing something in here, but I don't know if there's information of that. So I have to. No, it doesn't actually listen. So it may be non-existent. So it's non-existent. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, then maybe that's a different actor I'm thinking of.
Different actor. Vincent Cassel is his name. Hey, thought you should know about that. But regardless of that, this is what the objective point of view is. So unless somebody thinks that I'm wrong on this, especially when it comes to people of France, they will actually correct me, and I would actually be happy to. I would actually like to be wrong on some things if I'm not actually understood or well versed into that. So, especially when it involves Valentine's Day. So, with this being said, I know it's been drawn out. I'm gonna cut it out here.
Well, the best way I can put it is like a certain actor used to say in a series of movies that was based off of an old book. People mess up, even I do, but I'm not I'm not afraid to admit it when I am. I think that's the best way to put it, is like, sometimes we're told certain things, and if we turn out to be wrong, then, oh well, it's not the end of the world, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Alright. So now that we went on that tangent, anything you two would like to say on this? Lady M, Mason?
I don't have much to say about Valentine's because just to me, I just kind of ignore it because the thing is, I don't really participate much in it. I mean, I may give my grandma, like I have a grandma, I bought her chocolates. That's it's a nice thing to do for her. But for me, I don't really worry about Valentine's Day. Besides, I'll be working that day. I won't have to worry about shit.
I think a lot of us will be.
Well, luckily, I don't work in retail anymore, so I won't have to see all this fucking Valentine's bullshit.
Right.
Like when I worked at Walmart.
Oh boy in hell. Alright, now Lady M, sorry for cutting you off there. You can go ahead and speak.
Yeah, as for me, I don't really do much for Valentine's Day either. Because again, yeah, no, that's it may be pointless, but then also I could see, yeah, depending on, I mean, it's people's choice whether or not they want to partake in it. But me, at most, you know, I'll give things out to family, like I'll send them stuff, but I don't see the need to really partake. This, I'm usually just having a busy day and minding my own business.
Alright, that's cool. So, with that being said, I think we're all just sounding like broken records at this point, so, you know, if we got nothing else to say, then we might as well just end this early.
Obviously. Unless if we have something else that I'd be willing to talk about, which I may have a bit of something in my sleeves. In fact, even when we're talking about adult Valentine's, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some things that we could talk about, but a lot of the times that we just can't come up with what we were supposed to talk about. Or unless something that might be, let's put it this way, pertinent, per se, but we do not want to go off on a tangent more than we have to. In fact, I've actually, okay, there might be something else that I thought about this, and I don't know, there may be that's tied into this discussion, even in this particular stream, but I thought of this, okay? I thought of this. Any particular video games, it doesn't have to revolve of this anything that is a true violence or anything, just merely a romantic side of things within the video game. Doesn't have to be it that way, but have any of you actually, well, actually, maybe you, Mason, might know about that, but have you actually played a video game that has involvement of romantic scenes that may not necessarily tie into the Valentine's Day, whatever the case may be? I mean, the one perfect example that I can pick it up off the top of my head is maybe a bit of a Mass Effect trilogy, if you could count on that, but did you really thought about that beforehand, Mason?
The Mass Effect trilogy?
Yes.
Yeah. Not really.
Have you ever... What?
Oh, wait, hold on. What was the question? My bad.
Have you ever thought about... my original question was, have you ever played any particular video games that involves romanticism in the game?
Let's see. I think maybe Fallout New Vegas, but I don't know if there's like romantical options. I know you can persuade people, and you can make friends with people. As for the Mass Effect series, I have actually never gotten to playing the Mass Effect series whatsoever. I've been wanting to, I just hadn't had the time.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to romance in games, I don't really mind it, but I don't really try to romance motherfucking NPCs most of the time.
Oh, Beagle Boy, Stay Island. This needs
Jesus
to be
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
This needs to be dealt with it immediately, so Stay Island. This needs to be taken care of. I know you might be frustrated, but keep yourself cool. Keep yourself cool.
Alright, the comment is gone. Alright, the comment is gone now.
Good.
Anyways.
Yeah. As I was saying, when it comes to the Mass Effect games, I haven't played any of them, and when it comes to romance options in most video games, I don't mind it. I don't really try to pursue that stuff. Besides, whenever I play a game that, like, for example, I know in what is it? Baldur's Gate 3, you can choose many options to where you can romance and other characters.
I've heard about that. Oh yes, I've heard about that.
I think for me, I don't get so invested into the game where I try to romance characters, and for me, I kind of just like I kind of just like fuck around and sometimes just like try to focus on the story.
As for me, I probably have played a romance game. It's been so long. It's been years since I've really played video games.
I think my favorite though, like my favorite moment was Fallout New Vegas. Whenever you go to the mutant, where that mutant area with the one mutant, and it's the grandma, like the mutant grandma, and she and you I think you save her or whatever, and because I think she's blind or whatever. She assumes that you're her grandson, and so she becomes a companion, and she does things for you, assuming that you're her grandson. It's kind of funny.
Well,
Like
I didn't
like
really.
sh- like she'll like for example like when you ask her questions and stuff like that, she'll ask you questions like how's my grandson doing, how you know what I mean, and you can just basically just straight up just like pretend to be the grandson if you wanted to, because you kind of don't want to break her heart. It's kind of funny because it's like I remember that fucking one part of the game where it's like I would roll into New Vegas with the fucking grandma mutant, and and it was just funny.
It is funny, but I didn't really think that would be the case.
Yeah, I know Mass Effect is very fucking very known for their those sex scenes that they have.
Yes.
Which, let's be honest, it's all softcore porn, is what it is. It's not even real like set. You know what I mean? It's all softcore.
Yes, and although the game is very very massive, no pun intended, for each of the Mass Effect games, and even the most popular ones, I would say Mass Effect 2 for what it's been a massive one on it for what it's worth. But for Mass Effect 3, it kind of went downhill in that. But
I heard Mass Effect 3. What was it? The ending that really threw people off.
Yes.
It was the end, like the anticlimactic ending, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yes, anticlimactic ending. Yes.
Because what I heard from Mass Effect 3 is like the game is a good. It is a good game. Like it's a good game. It's just the ending that fucks everything up.
Yes, and it screws everything up, and I don't understand why they wanted to with that. Why they wanted to go with that direction to completely fuck everything over within that game. So I honestly don't. I just don't understand it for why it had to go down that bad. Honestly.
Yeah, I will have to. I do have to play the Mass Effect games though. I if I see them at Game Exchange, I will buy them. I think they're Xbox exclusives, right? Where they was the first game an Xbox exclusive?
Well, as a matter of fact, are you talking about the Mass Effect 2 or 1? I'm not entirely sure.
1. I think 1 was I think it was an Xbox exclusive.
Well, as a matter of fact, let me do a check on that just to make sure it's that. Although, from my understanding, it was developed by the Microsoft Game Studios. So, well, actually, it was the publishers that they've done that. Just to make that abundantly clear on that. But I'll do a check for you just to make sure that I...
They don't have Mass Effect like the 1, 2, and 3 for modern consoles, do they? They don't have that available, do they?
3, I think they might. Actually. The first 2, probably not.
Okay, so you can probably only get... Okay.
Well, actually, I would have to say that I believe what it's supposed to be called Mass Effect Legendary Edition. That's what it's called.
Yeah, where it's a collection.
That is set for the modern consoles. Yes, that's what it is. Okay, so it was definitely for the first Mass Effect game. It was first released on the actually not first, but it was really released first on the PC on Windows, then Xbox 360, and then after that PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Hold on a second. What the hell are you, a dentist? Like, seriously, where's your dental degree? And what the hell are you even talking about?
Here I looked it up on Steam. So I can get... Oh, okay, cool. Oh, well. All right. right, so I can get Mass Effect, the 2007 one, for $30.
Yes.
I can get Mass Effect 2, and I can get Mass Effect 3, but each of them are $30. And the thing is I was wondering if they came in a bundle. They don't.
What do you mean by
Oh, wait.
bundle?
Wait, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Hold on, what's this? I wonder, like, I'm saying,
They
like,
do in fact come.
like, I'm saying you could buy all 3 games, right? Like, all 3 games, basically, for one big
In
price.
one.
I think this is it. Hold on, let me check it.
Yes,
I'm
for
looking-
the Legendary Edition and for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. In fact, you can actually get that game for that. So it actually does. come with
Legendary
that,
Edition,
even
that's
with all
what it
the
is.
deals.
There it is. Yeah.
There you
Okay,
go.
cool. Now I see what you mean. All right, yeah. This is it's actually 84. It's actually $9.59.
Pretty significant, I would say. Well, that was out of that noise.
Oh, it's 120 gigabytes.
120 gigabytes, eh?
Yeah, because it's like all 3 games. I'm gonna add this to my wish list, but I'll buy this later.
Yes, you should definitely should.
Once I get my because I don't want to. I already have a 100 gigabyte game, and that's like fucking Black Ops 3. But once I get my
Get a new hard disk. Yes,
SSD, right? A 4 terabyte one. I'm going to definitely purchase the Mass Effect so I can play them on PC because I know my PC will be able to run that shit, no problem.
It should be able to with that for that matter. Well,
Because I have I think my GPU is a. Hold up. I can tell you right now.
Well, I mean, your GPU should be able to run with no issue, unless it's going to cause a massive slowdown on your end.
No, I think it's pretty good. I think I got a good setup. Oh, here we are, performance. I am running a. Hold up.
Unbelievable, this game.
Oh, I am running an AMD Radeon RX 6600 XT. That's a pretty good. That's actually a pretty good graphics card.
I'd
That's
say
what I
so.
was told. It was a 1080p graphics card, and then I got an AMD Ryzen 7 8-core processor, and again, it runs Black Ops 3 great, runs Power World great. It runs. I recently got Monster Hunter Stories 2 that runs perfectly. So it should run the Mass Effect games all perfectly.
Okay, then it should work for that then. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's much for us to talk about that, other than the fact that there are some characters that you can romance within the game, and especially in Mass Effect and in the Fallout, some Fallout as well, Fallout New Vegas, and in Fallout 4. Well, I'm not even gonna talk about that, so we're just gonna have to skip on ahead of that.
Yeah,
But-
Fallout 4 is better with mods, though. 100%. Fallout 4
Yes.
is better with mods.
Yes. Well, I think that we have covered everything else that we were able to talk about, Beagle Boy. So we have just done for what we could say about it. Even if I had nothing to add to that in terms of Valentine's Day, but that's what it is.
Okay, I really do not know who this sizzle person is, but anyways, we'll just ignore that because at least it's not going into anything too deep. But anyways, with that being said, I think we've covered everything that we have discussed for this very video. Thank you all so much to anyone who is watching this, as well as everyone who participated. If you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe and click on the bell to get notified. If you like this video, feel free to give a like, and if you want to say anything afterwards, feel free to comment down below, and I will see all of you guys next time. So with that said, have a good rest of your day, night, whatever time zone you live in, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.
See you all.